specifically Wagyu beef, you'd need to watch the show from the beginning to understand what we said. So it's always on YouTube. You can recap at any point. But right now, Chef Chris, what is happening here? Because I can see lots of meat. I can see a lot of rubs here, what we like to call marination.
Yeah, that's right. Well, this is kind of part of the portfolio that we brought over for our 2.5-week promotion here at the Radisson Blu Arboretum. So look, this is probably our big signature steak. So this is our tomahawk here.
Yeah.
So this one here is 1.4 kilos. So we had 3 guys share this the other night. But you know, certainly back home in Melbourne, we have guys eat this by themselves. One person? Yeah, so look, as I said, this is 1.5. The largest one that we've had at the restaurant eaten by one guy was 2.3. So, kilos. Yes. Wow. So that's a nice big steak. Right. But then this is probably our most signature one here. So this is the boneless ribeye. So really, this
why is it called the ribeye?
This there is the same thing. It's exactly the same cut. So now it's a boneless ribeye. When it's got a small bone on it, it's a ribeye. When it's got a big thing like this, it's called the tomahawk. So it's exactly the same cut. But whether it's on the bone or off the bone, you know, but then it's having it like this as an individual cut, or cooking it on the bone like that in our Josper oven, it's a different dining experience. You know, the char grill on this and then cook it on the bone. Actually, it does, you know, it does have a different sort of texture and a different sort of eating when it's sort of, it comes out a little bit more like a roast. Right. You know, when it's there, and this is more of an individual grilled steak.
So that and that, same thing?
Same thing, yeah, but this just is on the bone. And then all the full-blood Wagyu we've got here is grain-fed for 450 days. So it's a big, long process. But this one here is our Black Angus steak that we've brought over from a producer I work with.
Black Angus?
Yes, so it's a different type of cattle. I work with a producer in Australia called Macca's. So this is only grain-fed for 150 days. But you can see this is marble score 7. So that's sort of unheard in Angus. So
marble score 7.
7, and the marble score here is like 8 and 9 plus. So same here as we've got the rump cap here. So we'll show you that one as well. But look, a couple of the other cuts that we've brought over as part of the menu. We have our Brazola here.
Brazola.
So this is an air-dried Brazola. Okay, so we air dry this for 4 months. Okay, and it sort of like intensifies the flavour. Yeah. And then we put that on one of the entrees.
When you say air dry, you put it out in the sun to dry?
No, it's in a special in a special kind of, you know, dry aging refrigerator. Okay, that sort of, you know, cures the meat. Yeah. Then we have my Wagyu pastrami here. So we use a couple of my spice rubs. So this, my Mr. Wagyu spice rub goes on this one. So it has smoked paprika, some cayenne pepper, fresh cracked pepper, onions and garlic. Really get that flavour around there. Yeah. And then I'll sort of show you, it's beautiful in pink in the middle. You can see that marbling. Yeah. And then we have a little canapé that we use this for as part of our five-course wine matching dinner that we have on here. Yeah. So there's a whole process to everything, and then, now obviously these are the primal cuts that we're using to grill steaks. Yep. But then we take some of the secondary cuts that aren't as tender, and we sort of, you know, we value add to them. Yeah.
I want to talk about the knives for a second. Yeah. So what's so special about this knife? Because I see it has some pattern on it.
Oh, look, it's how the Japanese just sort of tap and make it look all fancy. Yeah. But look, you should never cut yourself with sharp knives. You only cut yourself with blunt knives. So it's very important. Like, you know, your tools.
This is very sharp.
Your tools of the trade. So yeah, and then look, this is more my carving knife. You know, and then this is more my boning knife. Yeah. So it's definitely horses for courses.
It looks like what we see in our Kenyan butcheries.
Yes.
But this is a design. Ours are this thin because of the constant grinding.
Yes. Yeah. And the butcher always, you know, he goes like this and he makes sure his knives are sharp by cutting his hair on his arm. Right. So look, I'll just take a little piece of this rump cap here. We'll just take a little bit of that extra fat. So when I was saying too, we render down the fat. We'll put this, we'll put this fat down into a pan, and then it turns into liquid, and then we'll cook the potatoes in that. So here, if I take a nice portion of steak off, you can see the...
Is the meat that soft, or is your knife that sharp?
No, it's with the marble. And then too, with all the marbling in the meat, the fat will heat up and will melt. So when you go to bite into it, if you think all that fat there is all soft, and it's like starting to melt when it gets up to temperature, that's what makes the steak so tender. Right. So it's a glamour-filled eating experience.
There's a word you keep on mentioning, marbling. Maybe you can just explain to us what exactly you mean by marbling. Is it?
Well, it's the meat to fat ratio in here. So you see in this cut, the rump, there's not as much marbling, all right, but this is the same. This is the same cut here. So this is the bottom of the rump. This is the top of the rump. So this will have more marbling in it. This cut here, and then when you go into the boneless ribeyes, they will have the most marbling. Okay, so the marbling is graded at the abattoir. So they hang up the cow and they cut it here in between the 4th and 5th rib, right, where this cut is. And it slightly opens, and then we have official graders go into the chiller in the abattoir, and they have a card that says marble score 0 to 2, 4 to 5, 6 to 7, all the way up to 9+. And then all the animals will be graded, and then obviously the more marbling, the more cost.
Okay. So you cut off the fat, and this one you're saying that you just put it on the pan so that it can melt?
Yeah, it will 100% turn into liquid, and then all the little bit that we left, we put into like the red wine sauce to make it really beefy in flavour, and then all the liquid that comes off it we'll use to cook the potatoes. All
right, so I know we're about to go to the fire, but before we get there, maybe a few of the things that we can do with this kind of beef, this kind of meat, is what? We can fry it, we can roast it. What else can we do with it?
No, well, I mean, look, it's sort of, like I always say, you know, what Mother Nature's given us, you know, is at its best and at its pristine. So, you know, we don't really want to do, you know, too much to this. We just lightly oil it. We'll put some salt and pepper on it, and then we're going to grill it. You know, all the flavour, and you know, we spent 3.5 years to get it to this. Right. So, you know, we just don't want to do too much with it. A lot of people say, you know, do you dry age the Wagyu? And no, we don't dry age it at all. You know, the grass-fed meat and the stuff that has no marbling in it needs to be dry aged. You know, and then that month, 4 to 6 week aging process breaks down the enzymes and flavours the meat, where this is ready to go. You know, I sort of say, you know, why buy a Lamborghini and drive it across the road, you know, out of the showroom and want to renovate it? It's ready to go. We spent 3.5 years to get it to here.
You love Lamborghinis, don't you?
Maybe one day.
All right, so before we leave this space, can you tell me what this is? Maybe we can just go through all of them.
So yeah, these are our range of salts. So we have the smoked salt here, the natural sea salt, the lemon myrtle sea salt, and then the barbecue sea salt. So this is like the all-rounder you can put on and flavour everything. Has a good mixture flavour. And then these are the 3 spice rubs that we have. So my Smoky Prestige is very peppercorn driven. So it has white, green, black and pink peppercorns. Has some star anise and some fennel seeds in there for a little background flavour. And then also has activated charcoal. So it's nice and black, all right, and it's really sort of like a pepper steak driven rub. This is my signature one. It has some cumin, some coriander, some onions and garlic. And then this is our spicy one. So this is the Mr. Wagyu. So this has cayenne pepper, smoked paprika, fresh cracked pepper. So yeah, just a mixture of flavours. So, and each one we sort of use for different purposes in the kitchen.
All right. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to get into the, what do we call that?
It's called a Josper oven, all right, with all charcoal in the bottom. So.
So we're going to get into the Jasper oven.
We're not going to get in there. We're
okay, of course, we're not going to get into the oven, but we're going to go there and show you how exactly some of these meats are prepared. And of course, hopefully you guys will enjoy as equally as we do. All right, so we are at this particular area. I don't know what it's called, but he said something to do with Jasper oven.
Yes.
Yeah, Jasper oven, which has Josper.
Yes.
All right. So what are we going to do in that particular place? Because it's very hot.
Very hot.
I feel like I'm already burning.
No, well, we're just going to, you know, we're going to oil and season up the meat, and then we're going to get in there and we're going to grill it, and then it's very important that we rest it afterwards. Yeah, because I always say like this, you know, see how my fingers are bright red? And if I take it out of the oven and then I cut into it, all that blood's going to burst out. So when you relax the meat, if you see my fingers go like this, the tendons in the meat relax, or my fingers go white again, and then it's like sort of sitting on the couch after a hard day at work, and it's nice and relaxed. Yeah, it'll be more tender, all the juices will stay in. So it's all about following them right principles all through, you know, as I said, from choosing good produce, right down to that last second before we're about to cut it up and put it on the plate.
So we have an assistant here, Chef Desai, who apparently has an Indian name, but he's very Kenyan.
All right, so just a little bit of oil there is really important, right, so that seasoning is going to stick. Okay, and then I'll use my barbecue sea salt here.
All right, barbecue sea salt.
And then I always say season like the rain, because if you go down here, you can get like lumps of it, and then it's not going to be easy.
So when you do it from a distance, it spreads well.
Very, very important. Season like the rain. Okay, so we have a
good technique.
Yes, we have had it out for a good, you know, 10 minutes now. Brought it up to room temperature, Because if you take it straight from the fridge and you put it on the grill, you think the middle of it's going to be like fridge cold.
Yes.
And then it's going to cook very unevenly.
Okay.
So another little principle that's really important. All right. Into our Josper, that's
this place is
very,
really
very hot.
Yeah.
I want to get that.
Do you ever burn yourself doing this kind of?
Oh, look, I've got burns all over me already, and I've only been here a couple of days. So.
Okay.
All right, so we've got it in there now.
Mm-hmm. So what is Jasper doing?
Right,
I mean, not Jasper, but the side.
Just tempering the heat. Open up the vent, all right, let some of the actual initial heat in there. Because if you see, we're at about 350, 400 degrees now.
Oh, this actually works.
Yes.
All right, so we're slightly at 250, probably heading towards 300.
Oh, I think that's just because we pulled the door open, but we're about 400 just before when we got over here.
Yeah.
So it's very hot in there. Obviously, it was a charcoal on the bottom. It's going to give it some lovely flavour. All right, so we'll just. Everyone always asks me, do you season the steak? Yes, you always put salt on the steak before you cook it, not after. Just gives so much better flavour. Okay, and then temperature is very, very important. Obviously, if you put it in and it's too cold, it's very hard to bring it up. Yeah. So you want to start with it as hot as possible, and then if we need to temper the heat, then we can cool it down a little bit. Yeah. But you don't want to flip it and flip it and flip it either. Yeah. Just let it do its thing. Let it char grill, let it get some nice flavour on it, then we'll turn it over, then we'll bring it out and we'll let it rest.
So how long is it going to be in there for?
Oh, probably 6, 7 minutes in total. Yeah. Probably 3 or 4 minutes on each side. Right. Especially because it's, when you don't really have it.
You don't have a watch. How are you telling the time?
Experience.
Speaking of experience, how long did it take for you to perfect these kinds of techniques?
Oh, look, it's just repetitive time in the kitchen. I think when you work in the kitchen too, at the highest level, it's really important that you don't just sort of focus on one section of the kitchen. You've got to learn everything. Yeah. So, I just sort of I worked a meat section back when I was younger, and just that repetitive night after night after night. Yeah. Anyone can cook one steak in a pan. Yeah. But when you've got 6 or 7 different cuts on the menu, you work in a steakhouse, and then the restaurant's full. People have entrees, people have the meal straight up, so there's certain different things because once you cook it and you rest it, you don't go back and then reheat it again. Yeah. So, and the tendons will sort of like go, a lot tougher if you go back and reheat it again. So everything's about timing, if you cook it at the right time, when they call the entrees away, sometimes you've got to put yourself under pressure and cook it right at that last second to make sure it's perfect. Because if we take it out to rest it, thinking it's cooling down, and it's cooling down, it's still cooking. Yeah. So it's going to overcook if you go too early. Yeah.
I want to know about your working culture. Is it ready?
Now we're going to turn it over.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it has some beautiful grill marks on it like that.
Whoa, look at that.
See how hot it is in there. And so you can see that fat rendering down now as well, yeah?
So, like I was saying, your work culture, work ethic, working with people like Desai and like the thousands of other chefs behind him. How do you like, you meet all these different cultures. You were in Pakistan, you obviously met chefs there. You were in Qatar and Saudi, now you're in Kenya, you're going to Lagos. How do you integrate with all these cultures?
Oh, look, I said to the boys,
they're different.
I said to the boys the other day, you've got to be a leader. Yep. You've got to be confident in what you do and what you tell them, and then they need to follow. And a big part of being a leader is delegation. I come to this hotel and we're cooking for thousands of people this week, night after functions, and I've only got 2 of these. Yeah. So it's about me mentoring the boys to make sure, and girls in the kitchen, to make sure that, they follow my lead and we all do it together. Yeah. Yes, you've got to show a little demonstration, but then, look, I think you come into the kitchen, there's a lot of passionate young chefs here who want to learn. Right. So it's really important that, you show them that one way, get them to follow your lead, and then we all be really, really consistent with it. Because we're doing it night after night after night now. And, look, a few challenges and hurdles on the first day of any sort of international pop-up, because nobody really knows what you're doing until they've seen it once, and then you find a rhythm. Yeah. I've done, these pop-ups now in over 14 different countries. Yeah. So I always say the first day is like trying to get a freight train out of the station. By the time
it's heavy.
But then when you pick up some momentum and some speed, smooth. You'd like to hope it gets smoother and better and easier. Yeah. And then by the time the end of the promotion comes after 2.5 weeks here, I should be able to stand back on the last day and watch, because the boys have learned, they understand, the girls are involved. And,
that happens a lot?
Yeah, and that's from front and back of house at the hotel. Yeah. So that's really important. Nice.
Do you like it in Kenya? And don't lie.
Do I like it? Look, I love it here, you know, because it's just, we've been here so many times now. Everyone's really accepting of, you know, me, my cuisine, our food, the quality of produce that we bring into the market.
Yeah.
You know, and it's an exciting place, you know, and I think it's forward thinking. I've said for a long time now, you know, like Nairobi is the New York of East Africa, and everything happens out of Nairobi. So that's why we come here, and you know, from the work and the cooking and the clients that we've been able to feed, as well as a bit of the social life we've seen. So no, it's always exciting.
What's that one difference you can pick up between Australia and here, apart from our skin color?
Oh, no. Look, I think, you know, as the food scene's really evolving here. You know, the restaurants are becoming better. The push for quality is becoming better.
Yeah, are
so,
we safe?
Yeah, no, I'm going to take it out in about 30 seconds.
Okay.
So, yeah, that forward thinking and that wanting to get better and wanting to learn new things. And I think social media helps because people can see a lot more new things and then they want to try it. Yeah. So, no, that's the exciting thing, I think.
Good stuff.
All right.
Good stuff.
Let's
take
rip
a
it
look.
out.
Wow.
And then
even smells good. Yeah?
All right, you put it onto here, and then we're just going to rest it. All right, so too, I can just sort of touch it, and I can know how much it's cooked just by touching it.
It's hot.
It's not that hot. Okay. Oh, look, us, you know, we've got leather fingers, us chefs that work in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So as I said, you can see the grains that are running this direction. Okay, so as I'm going to cut this way, opposite. Because if I cut it like this way, then the tendons won't break down on your palate and with your teeth. So yeah, it's very important that you cut like this against the grain. Okay. All right, and get that nice char on the outside. And then, as I said, you know, we'll let it rest. So about a quarter of the cooking time, we'll let it rest.
Yeah.
So, you know, if it was in there for, you know, seven minutes, only needs to rest for a good, you know, minute and a half. All right, and then we'll cut it. We'll fan it out. We'll show you. We'll give you a little taste of the Wagyu. All right.
So guys, yeah, of course, I want to taste the Wagyu. Never tasted it before. This will be my first time. I'm sure I'm gonna love it. Yeah. So the next time, in the next few seconds, rather, you guys are gonna be seeing us. We're gonna be doing the plating and the tasting. Let you know how it tastes. We're still at the Radisson Blu Arboretum, and we're now joined by the executive chef. He goes by the name of Wilkofred, yeah? Yes, Wilkofred Kivungi. He's the executive chef, basically in charge of the entire team that makes sure that when you guys come here, enjoy absolutely amazing meals. And of course, we have Chris here, who did something amazing on the other side of the kitchen. So, Chris, what are we doing here?
Oh, we have our beautiful piece of Wagyu rump cap here, marble score 8 to 9 plus.
Right.
And then we've got a few of our little marriage of flavours with our garnishes here. We'll just plate up a little dish for you.
Right.
We'll show you how, now it's sort of, because of all that marbling, we'll cut against the grain. Right. It's going to be super soft, nice and medium in the middle.
So this is medium rare?
No, this is
just medium?
Medium.
Okay.
So just a little bit in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so chef, if you want to put down a little bit of our red cabbage puree.
So that's red cabbage puree. That means it's been...
Yeah, we've cooked the cabbage with some onions and some garlic. There's a bit of apple in there as well. And then just everything is about, you know, beautiful colours and flavours on the plate. So we'll put that on there.
This is now the plating.
I'll just fan that out.
What in Kenya we call kupakua.
And then that spice rub that we had on there just before, I'll put just a little bit of extra on the plate here just to accentuate that flavour. And then we have a little gel that we made out of capsicum juice and smoked chilies. Okay.
Capsicum juice and what?
Smoked chilies.
Okay.
And capsicum. All right, so we'll put a bit of that on.
How does that taste?
All right, we'll have to I'm gonna get a little piece on your finger, but you can try it off here.
Yeah, sure.
And then our little Wagyu bresaola, the air-dried beef, we'll put on the top here. Right. All right, we've got a couple of little, beautiful little bits of the garnish. Okay, and then our nice little bit of texture.
So what is that texture?
Okay, this is made out of flour, oil, and charcoal powder. Okay, so little accentuate the little the flavours that we have coming out of the charcoal oven. All right.
Right. Being in the kitchen is messy, huh?
No, you shouldn't be. Well, whatever happens in the kitchen should never be felt in the dining room.
Yeah.
Well, you want to send perfection out into the dining room, and I always say it's either two ways. It's either a fight for survival or a strive for perfection. And if you come to work every day, you know, and you cook at this level, you know, we're striving for perfection. You know, perfect is very hard to obtain, but if you're not coming to work every day and striving for it, and that comes right, as I said, you know, going to the farm and getting the best produce and working with your producers. You know, you can come here.
Are we safe?
Yes, yes, yes. It's always action in the kitchen.
Yes, yes, okay. Yes. That's the ice maker, right?
All right, yeah. So a beautiful little Wagyu there. And it's a duo because we've got the rum cap, we've got the Brazola, and then a nice little marriage of all of them flavours.
Okay. Yeah. So is this time to do
yes,
the
we need to probably get you a knife and a fork, and then you go there. So
I'm sure someone will grab a knife and fork for me somewhere. Oh, it's behind me. All right.
So maybe if you're more medium well, we'll just have this piece on the end here.
Let me do the tasting. I mean, it's already cut. I don't even need to cut. So this is it?
Go for it. So you get a really nice char grilled flavour around the outside from that really super hot oven that we cooked it in. Nice and super tender, really rich in flavour. You can taste that capsicum and that smoked chilli and part of that sauce as well.
Is this raw meat I'm eating right now?
No, it's cured meat. Just like you have like a salami out on the buffet. It's the same sort of thing. So like I said, we air dry it for.
It is very, very tasty.
Well, I hope so. We put a lot of time and energy and effort into getting it right to this. So
it was dried for how long?
Air dried for 4 months.
4 months.
4 months, yeah.
Wow.
And then you can see if you use the right cut and all that marbling in there, and see that's a very different flavour than the steak. So I think both of them combine very well on the dish.
Right. Nice. Awesome. Definitely tastes good. I'm going to have more of this, but right now we need to get to the end of the conversation. Where do you see this in terms of your vision for Kenya? What you're doing right now, bringing this Wagyu into the country, you're trying to establish something here.
Yes, you know, we want to immediately open the supply chain with more Wagyu on menus here. But look, it's about showing the producers here and, you know, and the livestock, you know, agriculture minister and the government about what grain feeding programs with good quality cattle can do. Yeah. And then I think, you know, there are a few people here in Kenya that are slowly starting that grain feeding program with the beef. I think some of the cattle here, you know, that doesn't get to feed on grass and, you know, and walks, you know, hundreds of kilometres a day to find their food, you know, is where the quality of meat is at. So we just want to showcase, you know, what we can bring over, what we can start with immediately, and then where our programs can grow with the local agriculture moving into the future. Yeah,
are you getting support from our government?
Oh, very much so. You know, the whole programs that we've done over the last 5 years, I've had great support from PS Harry and a few other people along the journey. But it's that collaboration. You know, we both want to have to push to succeed. You know, nothing just happens overnight. You know, it's not about the weekend. This is about the journey. So that's very important.
All right. I guess that's the end. Thank you very much, Wilco Fred, for allowing us to more or less take over your space. And thank you very much, Chris, for you know, inviting us on your trip to Kenya. Hopefully this is going to happen more often. Tonight, something is happening. By the time you guys are watching this, it's definitely going to be done. But tonight, something is happening.
Yes, Wagyu and whiskey.
Yeah.
So
my favorite word, whiskey.
Yes, yes. And now your favourite meat's Wagyu. So yeah, we'll have to combine them both together in a 5-course matching dinner tonight. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting things that are happening this week at the hotel, but no, that's it's pretty exclusive tonight. Yeah. So no, you're lucky enough to get a ticket to our event tonight.
Super lucky. Yeah.
And then yeah, we're really looking forward to that one. And then as the week goes on, you know, we have some canapé parties, and we did a masterclass with the students the other day. So look, it's just an exciting time to be around. All right.
So where can we find you? I know you're on social media. And you know, you
all them platforms, but look, it all comes from my website, steakmaestro.com.au, and that sort of explains something about, you know, my restaurant back home in Melbourne, Steak Ministry, about our produce that we sort of export. You know, we have clients now in Africa, Asia, the Middle East, so yeah, all over the world. And then all my social media handles are on the website. All right. Thank you very much. Special thanks, of course, to Radisson Blu Arboretum for allowing us again to come here and have this conversation with Chef Chris. Definitely coming back here to have a conversation with Radisson, because amazing spaces that are hidden. I haven't been to Radisson until today. That is the Arboretum one until today, and I'm embarrassed.
that I wasn't here early enough. So definitely coming back here and see what else we can do, collaborate as far as K24 is concerned as well. But for now, this is where we say kwaheri. See you on the next one. That is on Monday. Kwaheri.